Hello everyone, welcome back to the IndieGeekGuy channel, and we're back for another happy episode of our favourite cannibal show, Hannibal. Last time on, we had Mushroom Man and his endeavours to bury people alive so they would form connections in a way that he feels humans don't connect anymore. And then he targeted Will, because Will was figuring it out and he thought, well, this guy gets me, he understands me, he knows what I'm doing. You should let me bury all these people, and then you'll be able to reach out to these people, especially this girl that you're fascinated with, in a way that you didn't think possible. And, you know, it was a whole thing. It was a whole thing. Mushroom Man needed to go. We also got introduced to Freddie, a tabloid journalist who is just after that scoop, doing anything she can, putting anyone in danger, it seems like, to get those scoops. She also had a talk with Hannibal. Not entirely sure what they talked about, but we can all assume that Hannibal is going to use her for some purpose, or to move the chess pieces in a way that best suit him and his goals. But yeah, we've got through a lot in these first two episodes. Like, it feels like so much has happened in the space of two episodes. We've had two killers, one of which has had a lasting effect on Will, and we're sort of in that place of questioning. He opened up and said, I enjoyed killing that guy, and we're in this grey space of, did he enjoy killing him because he was a bad guy and he enjoyed like exacting justice, or did he just enjoy it for more sinister reasons? I'm guessing we're going to be going down that rabbit hole a bit further. And then all the while, Hannibal just chilling out on the edge of the spider's web, looking at all these flies just tangled up in the web, unknowing that he's manipulating all these events in some way, fashion, and just for his own enjoyment. It seems like at this point he probably has some sort of end goal that I'm completely not aware of at this point, but you know, he seems to be enjoying himself nevertheless. So I'm guessing this episode we're going to be diving a little bit more into Will's frame of mind in regards to having to kill the guy from the first episode. I keep forgetting his name. Hobbs, I think it was. And the daughter. Maybe the daughter will wake up this episode. Maybe we'll get to see something with that. Obviously, she's also a suspect now as well. Jack thinks that she helped her father with the victims and stuff. So I guess we'll see if that goes anywhere, or if that's just a complete red herring or not. But yeah, I'm enjoying the show. It's got a lot of interesting themes and ideas, and definitely a whole lot of happy, good darkness thrown on top for good measure. But before we jump into this one, please remember to hit the thumbs up button if you do enjoy the reaction and the review that happens afterwards. Also consider subscribing so you don't miss any future videos. Get notified, hit that bell thing if you're so inclined. You'll get reactions, reviews, gameplay, all fun stuff. There are also social links down below if you're interested in that stuff. There's a Discord server, so please go hang out over there if you're so inclined to help build the community in that way. But that's everything. Let's jump into this one and see what horribleness awaits in this episode of Hannibal. You'd see my pen has gone for a walk, so no notes. No notes this episode.
We're gonna honor every part of her. Her hide is gonna make a beautiful rug.
I don't like this. I don't like how creepy this guy is now.
Damage the organs. You ruin the meat.
I don't think I've seen a human being look more uncomfortable.
Eating her is honoring her. Otherwise, it's just murder.
Okay, well, I guess that's his justification for all of it. As long as I honor them by eating them,
Nice and easy.
it's all good. All good. I mean, this may be an out there theory. I am sort of like, is this just one big metaphor for her taking part in the murders? Am I just throwing something into the wind there and it not actually being anything? Okay, maybe I wasn't too far from the truth, maybe. But she's awake now!
I don't want to get in the middle of you and Jack, but if I can be helpful to you as a buffer.
I like you as a buffer. I also like the fact that you rattle Jack. He respects you far too much to yell at you.
And I take advantage of that.
I think Jack needs that from time to time.
The first person Abigail talks to about what happened can't be anyone who was there when it happened.
Yeah, much less the guy who killed Dad.
I am wondering what her reaction to Will's going to be. Like, is she going to be angry at him? Or, like, thank God you saved me? Like, I feel like it could go either way, really.
I asked the nurses if my parents were dead, and they wouldn't tell me.
She's reading a psychology book. Everything's about psychology in this show. All of it.
I know they're dead. Who buried them?
She doesn't seem to give a shit about them being dead.
Your father is more complicated.
Because he was crazy?
The nurses said you didn't remember.
She just always knew, maybe. I'm not going to go straight down the line of she being evil as well, because I feel like it might be more to it than that.
I want Will Graham to talk to her. You are not Will Graham's psychiatrist, Dr. Bloom. Dr. Lecter is.
Of course Hannibal's going to be like, do it. Do it. Go on, Will. Get in there. I want to see what happens.
The killer who did wanted us to know he wasn't the Minnesota Shrike. He is better than that.
Oh my god. Hannibal just like, yes. I'll just admire my own work.
He had intimate knowledge of Garrett Jacob Hobbs's murders, motives, patterns, enough to recreate them and arguably elevate them to art. How intimately?
Hannibal's like, yep, I'm just that good.
Did he engage? I believe the as yet unidentified caller was our copycat killer.
Will's on it. Look at that smile. He smirked, that little shit. Oh my god. He's so proud of him.
He was very sick. Does that mean I'm sick too?
You'll be fighting that perception. What you tell everyone is going to define the rest of your life. Let me help you.
My god, the manipulation at play here. Jesus.
Special Agent Will Graham.
By special agent, he means not really an agent. He didn't get past the screening process. Too unstable.
Here's the thing. Will, you know, questionable headspace he's in, so she might have a point. I want to believe the best for him, though.
You say he was loving, I believe it. That's what you brought out in him.
It's not all I brought out in him.
She's gonna be blaming herself for this whole thing, huh?
I'm gonna be messed up.
And worried that it's passed on to her.
So killing somebody, even if you have to do it, it feels that bad.
Yep, I don't know if he's quite so sure about that.
The ugliest thing in the world.
That's not what you said last time, buddy. That's not what you said last time. I think Will knows it's supposed to be the most horrible thing in the world, but...
My sister was impaled on a severed stag head, cut down the middle. What do you want from me?
I just thought you should know Abigail Hobbs came out of her coma.
Why are you doing this? Why? Just trying to create drama, obviously. Stir up that shit pot and hope you get a story out of it. That's all she's doing.
Is that where all my blood was?
Yes.
I can't imagine this experience. This, like, walking through a crime scene that you nearly died at. Like, the fucking head spinning that would do to someone.
What did it feel like to be him?
Feels like I'm talking to his shadow suspended on dust.
That was very poetic.
The man on the phone?
It was a blocked call. Did you recognize his voice?
I'd never heard it before.
Is there
Oh,
anybody...
that fleeting look. I feel like there was more to it than that. I saw that little look.
Are we gonna reenact the crime? You be my dad, you be my mom, and you be the man on the phone. Abigail, we wanted you to come.
Excuse me? Excuse me? Maybe it's a subconscious thing. Maybe she doesn't... Like, she knows it was him, but she can't quite realize it's actually the truth kind of thing. And Hannibal's like, am I gonna have to kill her? Am I gonna have to... I don't know if he wants to, but...
My mom doesn't want me talking to you, much less the news. Since when do you
Who's out in the window? Who's watching?
Well,
There's someone out back there.
I don't.
Probably Hannibal. I'm guessing it's Hannibal.
How'd you trap my sister? Did you chat her up?
Hey, piss off!
Throw rocks at him.
Help your old man cut out my sister's lungs while she was still using.
Damn, what a shot. She got him. Yeah, we better do something about that guy. That could turn into a problem.
He's got a cabin tomorrow.
We should report this, yes?
Yes.
Don't want his blood. Don't want his DNA or anything. Trickster Hannibal. He's up to something.
No parts went to waste. Otherwise, it was murder. He was feeding them to us. Wasn't he?
Mm-hmm.
It's very likely.
Yep. That's settling for a moment.
He told me if he would have just killed me, none of those other girls would be dead. We don't.
Oh, God. Someone help her. Someone help her. That's not good. This isn't good at all. Everything's gone to shit in this situation.
I need ERT at the Hobbs cabin.
Oh my God. This was Hannibal. This is Hannibal all over, wasn't it? Oh my God, is this her friend? This is her fucking friend who came by with the rock?
You said that this copycat was an intelligent psychopath, Will. That there would be no traceable motive, no pattern. He wouldn't kill again this way.
Depends on what the motive is.
Never struck his victims.
If
Why
it's
would the copycat do it?
fucking with Will Graham, then maybe it'll do it again.
Abigail Hobbs is not a killer, but she could be the target of one.
He's just advertising his shit now. He's just out here. That's how much of a flex I can pull.
Abigail.
Motherfucker, how did you get behind the lines?
Have you seen a young man, mid-20s, ginger hair?
Tell you if I saw him if you tell me why it's important.
Jesus, these two trying to play each other. You're not gonna win, Freddy. Right? Settle down.
None of her is gonna go to waste.
Oh, God. It's everywhere. She can't escape it. Get out of this house. Leave. Leave this house right now.
I just need you to listen to me.
This is stupid. This is stupid.
Didn't kill that.
That's not good. This is not a good look for you. But this guy's a stupid idiot. Hannibal's going to come in here. Let me just take care of this for you. We'll just move right on along. Man, this is risk. This is Risk City right here.
Abigail? You can tell them you were defending yourself when you gutted this man. And we can hide the body.
Oh dear. This is a big play. Big play. I do wonder what his end game is though. That's it. That's gonna be where it ends, isn't it? No, no, there's more. There's more.
I don't remember.
Come down from there.
Come down to my snake pit.
You're the one who called the house. You talked to my dad before. I think who called the house is a serial killer. Just like my dad.
I'm nothing like your dad.
Yeah, that's true.
I made a mistake.
That's definitely true.
Something easily. I'll keep your secret.
And I'll keep yours.
Oh, this situation.
More climbing walls, Abigail.
Jesus, it's just... It's the fuckery. The fuckery that's going on is incredible. So she's as much a surrogate daughter to Hannibal at this point, and Will. Is that the end of the episode? Oh, there it is. Gee, you're not tricking me again. Fuck me. Okay, a very differently paced and styled episode for episode 3, which I appreciated. I actually appreciated a lot in this episode. I mean, I'm trying to figure out things as they're happening and where the show's going, but, you know, at this point, it feels like the show is purposefully playing all its cards very close to its chest and doesn't want to give anything away, which is quite right, but it's always fun to just try and suss it as we go through it. Really appreciated the complexity going into Abigail in this episode. Like, at first it sets up that she's very just, like, blunt. Like, it makes it look like she's in on something, or she doesn't care, or, you know, just all of that kind of stuff. But then as the episode rolls along and she starts to realize the events that have unfolded, and it, like, slowly breaks away, and it's like, I don't know, she doesn't seem guilty of anything to me. It just feels like she's going through the motions, as it were, as she discovers the situation. And then everybody else gets involved, and she's being pulled and pushed in all these different directions by different people. You've got Will trying to help her, like, go through this trauma, and Alana as well, Bloom, she's trying to help her through it in the way that she sees fit. And then you've got Hannibal, who's clearly, like, he's got some sort of, he even admitted it in previous episodes, where he feels an obligation to this girl. But I don't doubt for a second, if it comes down to it, that if he needs to get rid of her, he will. But at the moment, it seems like he does feel like he has an obligation to protect her. And also, it seems like he wants to, or maybe even experiment with the idea of, is she part of her dad's crime? Is she capable of doing the same things, and can I bring that out of her? That might be on the table as well. Because we do know that Hannibal tried to warn the other guy that they were on their way, and, you know, part of that was probably him manipulating events to see how they would unfold. But also, you know, maybe Hannibal was protective of other people like him. Maybe that might be part of it. I don't know. It's an interesting dilemma to put Hannibal into, or at least the audience perception of what he might be going through. Just a lot of good stuff to keep everything slightly off kilter, and to keep me always guessing about what could be happening, why are things happening, and why are people doing things. Having said that, though, the Freddy in this episode just stirring up that shit barrel purely for stories. Like, don't trust a word that she says. I feel like she is, like, worse than some of the actual killers in some way. At least the killers are honest about what and who they are. She's just stirring the barrel to get stories out of it, and to, like, just, she doesn't really care who gets caught in the crossfire. She's like a different type of crazy altogether. Like, it's not about her directly hurting people, but it is about her indirectly hurting people, be that Will, be that Abigail, be that just anyone who's involved manipulating that guy into, like, hey, Abigail woke up and she might be a killer, and her dad did all this, that, and all the other, and are you gonna let that stand? I'm good, you know, like crazy chess plays that are gonna blow up in her face eventually. Like, it's gonna go horribly wrong. She's gonna step over the line, and Hannibal's gonna be like, yeah, that's enough of this, alright, I need to put you out, because this is just, there's too much trouble. That's my guess anyway. But for right now, he seems to be kind of enjoying the chaos of it and being able to manipulate it in ways that suit him. But yeah, just overall, this episode was a lot more about the ramifications of episode 1 more than anything. Is just, now she's awake, how's that going to affect everyone? What's people going to do with that? What's she going to do? Like, all of that stuff. And as of right now, by the end of the episode, it seems like she's firmly in Hannibal's corner. That's the path she has chosen with what's been presented to her. The whole speech that Hannibal gave her about, you have a choice in front of you, and that's the one she took. I can get why that seemed appealing to her in that moment. Personally, I get it. Like, if she'd gone through with, like, he tried to attack me, even though he didn't, he was just being very heavy-handed in whatever the fuck he was trying to do. But public opinion, it wouldn't have been good for her, and yeah, I can only imagine the other road. It wouldn't have been good. Jack would have been on the warpath. He would have been like, see, I was right. So I get why she took that option. I just worry about where it's going to go for her. Because, like, this episode did a great job of, like, at first, like, is she bad? Is she just as bad as her dad? But actually, I don't think she is. I just think she's paranoid and worried and concerned about her own mind and where that's going. Just did a good job of building up sympathy kind of unexpectedly. At first it's like, well, obviously I'm going to be sympathetic towards her, but then it threw in this, you know, this absolute gambit of maybe she was involved the whole time, and we're still not entirely sure if she was or she wasn't. It just seems to be playing it from a point of view of she feels responsible rather than her actually being responsible at the moment. There's still time that things could be revealed, but at this point it felt like by the end of this episode it was more about her blaming herself for her dad's actions rather than her being like directly, like, as people were suspecting, she used herself as bait and all that kind of stuff. But she seemed genuinely like disturbed by her dad's actions as this episode rolled along. So I guess I'm just hoping that maybe Alana is probably the best option to try and get through to her and save her, but this being Hannibal, I'm, jury's out. Like I don't think it's going to end well for anyone in particular. I suppose there is an interesting parallel in that ending scene where, it took the whole of the last episode for Will to gradually come down to Hannibal's level, and yet in here we had Abigail, who was started up there in the same place, and all it took was Hannibal to go, come down here, and she instantly just came down to that level. I feel like there is like a metaphor in there somewhere, but something to do with how she's being manipulated and how maybe it's easier based on the trauma she's gone through. It's an easier time for Hannibal to just get what he wants from this, whereas doing it with Will has been a slow, gradual process. I can already tell going forward that, again, just the tip of the iceberg of the mindfuckery that's going on here. Like, the show is, very much about human emotion and psychology in a very explicit way, and it is playing with that in very artful ways, and constantly has you going, like, who, what, why? I feel like at this point, like, Jack is like, it's hard to root for him because of how he's just like, she's bad. I'm going to find a way to prove my point that she is bad. I'm going to follow this through. I get where his suspicions come from, but I don't feel his methods are particularly great. The only person really who I feel comfortable with that they're going to make smart choices is Alana Bloom. Like, she's the only one who feels like she's in her right mind. She knows what she's doing. She seems to be thinking about this in a very thoughtful way and wants to progress things in a safe way, whereas everybody else is like, gung-ho, let's just fucking do it. Let's go. Poor Will is being manipulated without him knowing it, and he's got a lot going on. Like, he's living with I enjoyed killing this guy, but was it because he's bad or because I just enjoyed it? Also, I was in his shoes, so it was almost like I was killing this girl or tried to kill this girl, and now I'm very protective of her, but I don't know how to go about doing it. Like, guy's going through it. He's going through the ringer, and it feels like both Freddy now and Hannibal are forcing him through that ringer, and just waiting to see what the results of it are, really, more than anything. I suppose the big thing story-wise about this episode, this is the first time Hannibal has really truly put himself at risk. Like, he took out Alana, knocked her out. He's putting himself up to try and protect Abigail for reasons I assume will become clear as the show goes along. But for right now, it seems like it's coming off of that, where in the previous episode where he said he felt responsible for her just as much as Will does. So I guess it's just going to be a case of seeing how that plays out from here. If it's a true attachment that he's feeling, that he wants to protect her, or if it's a case he's just running an experiment to see if she has inherited her dad's crazy, as this episode seemed to be a lot about, and that seemed to be a major theme in this episode, about the idea of, can you catch a crazy, or is it passed down to you, that kind of thing, or can you share it with someone else, which maybe is a theme between Hannibal and Will as well, like this idea of what Will can do and how that relates to Hannibal. It's the same themes that kind of, obviously if you've seen it, this will make sense. It reminds me of Hereditary, and it's not the first time I've made a Hereditary comparison in a reaction video, but that whole idea of that movie is, it's a supernatural thing, but it does deal with mental illness and can you pass that down to the next generation and all that kind of thing, and this seemed to be tapping into that same theme. But yeah, I don't know. I've got a lot of questions. By design of the episode, it feels like an episode that is designed to just throw a lot of stuff up in the air and just kind of sit back and see where it falls, I guess, because there's no real solid, it's definitely this. It's It's definitely this thing that is happening. But I'm enjoying the journey, and I look forward to seeing where it's going to go with all that stuff. Hannibal was great in this episode. There were so many good, just Hannibal, just like I said at the beginning of this video, like him sitting at the edge of the spider's web, just watching people until he finally struck at the end, where he finally went, "I'm coming in." But yeah, lots of great moments, like Will talking about the copycat in his lecture, and Hannibal just sitting there like, "Oh yeah, this is, oh, I'm good." And then the little smirk at the end of it. Oh, perfect, pitch perfect. But yeah, overall this episode, I enjoyed the slight change of pace. I enjoyed that this one really let all that has happened so far kind of lay a little bit and just like bathed in it for a while, rather than having like a new killer, a new procedural thing to go alongside with the bigger themes that are going on. We had just basically like a consequences episode, but also throwing up the next thing, like where that's going to go next. But the things I feel relatively comfortable with in just where I think it's going to go next, like the Abigail Hannibal relationship, I do feel like Hannibal will, the main difference between Will and Hannibal, even if they do both feel responsible, is that Hannibal will remove her if he feels the need to. I think, unless we go somewhere very different. This episode also did a really good job of, much like how the first episode did a great job of putting you in Will's shoes and getting to know his experience and all of that. This did a great job of putting you in Abigail's shoes once she started opening up. Like at first she felt kind of cold and standoffish, but as the episode went along, it was doing a good job of like, oh god, this would be awful. Imagine going through this horrendous moment in your life and then being the survivor of it and then having to relive it, put it together in your own head and what that means to you, and that instantly makes you engaged with her as a character and sympathetic towards her, and you want the best for her, at least at this moment, since we don't have the full picture yet. But yeah, it did a great job of doing that. But yeah, as expected, another happy fun time in Hannibal Land as things get more complicated, more mindfuckery. Who can we trust? Who don't we trust? All of that good stuff. What are their motivations? It's certainly a journey. But yeah, I can't wait to watch more. Thank you for watching this one, guys. If you enjoyed it, please press the thumbs up button. It helps me know you liked it. Also consider subscribing so you don't miss any future videos, reactions, reviews, gameplay, all that fun stuff. Also helps the channel out a great deal. But other than that, thank you again for watching this one. I'll catch you on the next one.